like this, like where I am, like, and just having fun, like with training and kind of doing and kind of blocking out like expectations and all that kind of things. Like I love my team. I love what I do, and I love being able to step out on the competition floor. And I think one of the things that's so hard about competing is even like it's awesome. Like pressure's a privilege for sure, but like I wish I could just like walk out into like Wadapalooza to hit individual, knowing that I'm not like at peak fitness. But then everyone judges you that like, oh, he didn't even win Wadapalooza and all those things. And it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't freaking matter. Like I'm out here to compete and like have fun and just kind of like whatever happens on the leaderboard happens. But making sure that you're putting your best foot forward when you get to the CrossFit Games, because that's ultimately like where it matters.
Yeah. What's the plan for Wadapalooza?
Doing team.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped about that.
Along those lines, we got a question. Who is your Wadapalooza team?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing like a team go-wad with Willie Georges and Jay Crouch.
All right.
Oh, that's a good crew right there.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it's
go-wad, or do you have a fun name?
I think we're just going to do team go-wad. I haven't really thought about it. The other day I was signing up because like you needed to like sign up, and we're all in completely different time zones, like drastically different. Like one's 9 hours ahead, the other one's 17 hours ahead. Like it's just like all over the place. So I was like making up their birthdays and shoe sizes and just like put it all in. I'm like, hopefully this is right.
Gear.
Well, yeah. So
last couple of years, Willie's team has donned some interesting outfits, whether it was they brought out baguettes to the floor because they were all the French team. They wore those like black and white striped things. So I don't know, is there any preliminary talks about what you guys might do or what you might wear?
Oh, I'm sure we'll get up to something for sure. We haven't really talked about it much. Willie actually just did a powerlifting comp as well.
He's super
pretty
strong.
cool. I didn't even know he was doing that. Oh yeah. I think he deadlifted 660. He benched 330.
Oh my God.
And then I forgot what he back squatted, but a lot. He's a freaking strong dude. I mean, he's retired too, so I guess that's what you get for retirement. But it's gonna be fun. I mean, those guys are super fun. I get to talk to them like in competitions and stuff. So it'd be cool to kind of do team. I haven't got to do that before, so I'm excited to kind of step out on the competition floor. Obviously, we're gonna go hard, but Wadapalooza is such a cool like event. Just kind of go to have fun, but still got to work pretty hard.
Yeah. There's a lot of recency bias in this sport. So going into 2024, at least on the men's side, everyone's going to be talking about Roman, Adler, Vellner will be the big three. And, for the first time in a couple of years, you might be in the next tier or maybe under the radar. Do you like that? And if so, what's appealing about kind of flying under the radar for you?
Yeah, man, I think it's like I said, like I think being the underdog's like an awesome mentality. I feel like no matter what position I'm ever in, like I try to embrace that like the much I can. Like you seek out like ways to fuel yourself, and I think you might make situations up in your head that might not even be real, but if it can get you to push that extra 1%, like it's all worth it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that there was almost like this shock right after you first hit the podium. You're like, you don't see yourself as the third fittest man on earth. Like when you think about who that person is, and maybe it's not the person staring in the mirror, but obviously you win back-to-back years. And I imagine at some point that changes for the better, or maybe you're able to see yourself in that light. Has that also maybe taken a hit, or do you still see yourself in that same way? I'm just curious where the personal fluctuations are in terms of like how you see Justin Medeiros as a person absent of a fittest on earth label.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like it's definitely like a weird battle, because I definitely like acknowledge that like I've won the games, like I know that, but then also when you really think about it, it's just hard because the athlete that I feel like I was 5 years ago is not that much different than the athlete I am now, even though like I know that I've made a lot, but like I've never forgotten that, like, I feel like every time I've ever gone to the gym, I've always worked this hard, and obviously like the direction and the plan has like obviously evolved and gotten a lot better, but it's just like crazy to think about that. Like I'll never forget, I have a video saved on my Instagram from like you guys talking about the 2017 regional when I was the 18-year-old kid that it was like me, George Sterner, and I don't know if it was Angelo or Nick Palladino. I think it was Nick Palladino.
Palladino,
We're like the three 18-year-old kids that were competing at the regionals, and it's just like it's all like mushed together, I guess. Like I feel like I worked just as hard as that kid back then, but I mean, you just stack year after year of hard work like on each other and gets you pretty far.
Yeah.
Well, and even recently you had posted a video of when you had started CrossFit. I don't know if it was a PR or just kind of like a throwback, but you've managed to stay so humble, even with 2 titles under your belt. What do you owe that to? Was it your upbringing? I mean, I know we know your family and they are amazing people, so I'm sure they have something to do with it because they are incredible. But like, how do you manage to like have such a good head on your shoulders with everything that you've been through, winning a title, having all of this really like fame and popularity in the sport?
Yeah, no, it's still crazy. I mean, I volunteered at the games in 2015, and like got to be those people on the other side of the fence. You know, like I had pictures with like Annie and Katrin and just like Camille and Noah and like all these guys that were there at the games, and like getting starstruck, seeing Rich Froning in the elevator, and all those things. And I think being on the other side of that, like I definitely don't forget those things. And I think it's crazy when you do that, like meet and greets, and I'm always scared I'm going to show up and no one's going to be there to see me, you know, and like you always have that kind of like fear, you know, and you get to show up and there's a huge line of people coming to say hi. And it's like, it's unbelievable. Like it's so cool to see the support that I have. And I think at the games this year, like, you kind of have that fear that like, oh, people like me because I've won, you know? And I think it was cool to see everyone that liked me because of me. And I think the CrossFit community is super unique about that, and getting to do like the meet and greets and meeting everybody. I mean, I feel bad because it's like, I'm trying to get to everybody I possibly can. So it's like, hi, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Get a picture, and it's like on to the next. So it doesn't seem super personal, but like all those people I appreciate so much. And it's super cool to go out there and kind of see everybody. And it's awesome to see like how much of a difference I can make in someone's day by just taking a picture with someone, you know? And I think it's pretty cool that we get to do that in the space, especially because I know how cool it was to get a picture with Noah and Katrin. And it was just like, they were walking by and I'm like, Katrin, and they like look at me, point at me, take a picture and keep going. I'm like, frick yeah. Like it's awesome, you know? And it's just like, it takes not even a second out of her day and it freaking made my whole weekend, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that I get to do that for some people. I know a lot of people don't really care, but people that do care, it means a lot to me.
Well, hey,
so,
you might want to keep a couple of the ones with the younger kids because you never know.
Yeah.
Who they might be the next Justin Matthaus after that. So,
for real.
So given how we love your family, I mean, they helped my wife break into our RV one time, so that was fantastic. They're great people, and I know you're very close with them, and I know how driven you are and how competitive you are, and I'm wondering if maybe part of the I don't want to say, I guess part of the disappointment was maybe you felt like you were letting them down this year, and if that was the case, like I'm sure they didn't feel that way, but how did you get over that, or how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I put a lot of pressure like on myself because like I want to make the people around me proud, and like I said earlier on, like there's no doubt in my mind that like Adam and Jesse and Dan, like there's so many people I'm not even naming that are in my corner, and I know they're doing everything they can to like make sure that my best foot's forward. And when the result doesn't like get achieved, like it gets put back on myself, and it's a really hard pill to swallow because I know there's so many people that do so much for me, and then like I feel like I let them down, and I know that like it doesn't change in their minds, but it's still like really, because obviously like, I love this. I do it because I love it and I'm grateful for it, but also like I like to represent the people that like care for me, you know? And that's what I feel like I do when I'm out on the competition floor. Like I feel like I'm representing everyone that helped me get to this point, you know? And it was just a really hard pill to swallow to like look those people in the face that have done so much for me, and I felt like I let them down. Even though like I know that's not how they feel, but I still feel that way. But I think just expressing that and still seeing their support for me. I think it's just it means like all the just seeing everyone that comes out to the RV, for people that have walked by my parents' RVs. Like it's unbelievable the amount of people that come out to support me. I always pinch myself, and it's hard to believe every year that they keep coming out. But it's really cool to kind of have those people, and that's kind of what helps keep my head right on my shoulders. And like none of those people treat me different, whether I was that kid that was trying to make a regional to the guy that's won the CrossFit Games twice. Like they're going to treat me for me, and I think that's what's super cool about it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't all, I don't know, cloudy skies at the games. You had a good final day. Like I think a little bit of that gets lost in the shuffle. That after everything that happened, like on Sunday, you started to put together some good performances. Was there anything that changed there? Was there maybe some freedom knowing that, hey, this isn't going to happen and I can just kind of pin my ears back? What allowed you to kind of basically have your, outside of the handstand walk course, have pretty much your three best finishes on the final day after a long, tough weekend like that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a mental switch. I mean, I think there's a lot of things going on, but I think one of the main ones that happened is like just nerves. I think got to me pretty good. I woke up that morning, ate my breakfast. As I was walking out the door, emptied my breakfast into the trash can, and then you do a 40-minute workout, or do a 40-minute workout with no fuel in you. Eat it pretty good twice. And I think just like the rest of that day just felt like real loopy, just like super shaky. Like the turnaround from event 1 to event 2 was super close. I didn't get a chance to refuel as much as I should. And like the handstand walk was a blessing in disguise, because I'm not saying that event's easy, but it's not super taxing on your CNS. And it's more of like an execution thing, which I felt like was something that was in my control. Whereas flipping a heavy pig and doing a bunch of wall balls is more of like a engine motor thing. And I just had nothing. And that's 100% on me. Everyone deals with all that stuff, but that's what happened. And I think just even going into that handstand walk event, and every time I kicked upside down and came back down, getting a little dizzy, and then freaking doing a bunch of pullovers gets you dizzy even more. And there's just a million things that are going on that everyone has to deal with. Obviously, I say that over and over again because I don't like making excuses, but it was a little rough start to the weekend. And I think I was just trying to dig myself out of the hole and trying to recover throughout the games, because like I said, that day 1 hit me pretty hard. And I think by day 4 or 3 or wherever it was, Sunday at the games, I feel like I was starting to get my bearings back. And I was able to finish strong. And I think that's one thing I normally do well at the games is, I know I'm normally not that guy at the top of each workout, but I feel like I can get everything I can out of each workout. And even come Sunday, I'm still performing at my best, and I was able to recover each day at the games, but obviously wasn't able to do it fast enough to kind of turn things around from where they started.
Mm-hmm. So correct me if I'm wrong on this, we've never seen a champion lose and then come back and win again, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you think you can break that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why no one's ever done it. I think that's all guessing. I feel like I think the thing where I feel the reason why I think I can do it is that I don't feel like anything's ever changed. I feel like I'm that same person that I was 5 years ago. I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to try to be the best me that I possibly can. And I feel like when I'm at my best, I'm pretty hard to beat. And I think whatever happened at this year's games was just kind of what happens in competition, rather than oh, the fame got to your head, or oh, you made it now, and now I'm chilling, it wasn't because of a lack of effort and a lack of push and drive and dedication that that wasn't the reason why I didn't have the performance at the games. That fire's still pretty hot, and arguably hotter than ever. And I think it's I'm just excited to compete again. And I think that was one thing that I was nervous about, honestly, is like after the games. I mean, obviously it wasn't fired up, and the nerves going into any competition is just like anxiety, you know, because like you're scared to not like do what you know you can. And I'm sure that's always going to be there, but I was just really nervous about going into another competition and like being almost scared to compete. And like right now, like I just can't wait to get back on the competition floor. I think that's one thing I was nervous about after the games was like, if am I going to have that fire to want to come back, or is it just kind of like, you know what, like is what it is. I'm just going to keep training. I'm going to make the games next year and kind of see what I can do. And it's not that, you know, like I'm so fired up. I want to prove everyone wrong. And I'm just excited, man. I'm really excited for this year.
He's out here trying to break the CrossFit curse.
I know.
I love it.
Do you feel like not traveling is kind of like your version of like Rocky training in the woods for Rocky 4 when he fights Drago? He like gets back to the basics, you know, like he gets rid of the nice house and all that stuff, and he's like, I got to get back home to like what made me good in the first place.
Yeah, and I think for sure. I mean, I think it's just kind of that thing of like no excuses, you know, like obviously I've always told myself that like CrossFit is number one, you know, but I also want to have like a life. Like it's not worth being however many time fittest man in the world if I didn't enjoy the process along the way. So trying to find a balance like that. And like last year, I don't regret anything I did. I don't think like that was the reason that I didn't perform well at the games. Like I said, I think there was a lot of things. There was a lot of travel last year with like injuries leading into the games, what happened on day one at the games. Like there's just a lot of things that happened. And I think this going back and kind of listing everything out, it's like, well, I can control that one. I can control that one. I can control that one. That one is what it is. And I'm just going to try to do everything I can to do what I can control. And like I always said, like my best is enough. And when that is, like, I know I'll be proud of the result. And I think that's what like was so hard about this year's games. I wasn't proud of the result. Like I remember, like, it's hard to say, like, people like, oh, well, obviously winning, you're going to be happy about it. But like, I look back, I think the best example about it was like the 2021 regional, the one where Jason beat me. I mean, I think I got third the year before. People were telling me I'm going to win the games. And then I go to my semifinal. I get third place in my semifinal. You know, it's like, how am I supposed to get on the podium again at the games when I'm getting third place in my semifinal? But like, I looked at those events and I was like, dude, I PR'd my snatch. Like Gretel is normally a tough workout for me. I like crushed that one. Like I had an event win. Like I did everything so well in that weekend that I felt like, man, that weekend couldn't have gone any better for me. And I got third, but I was stoked on it. It's like, obviously I wish I could win and I'm mad that I didn't win, but it's like, you look back and it's like, man, I did everything right. And I'm so pumped about that result. And I think just trying to do that like this year of just being like, hey, like I know I'm doing everything I possibly can. So whatever result does come on the leaderboard, it's like, man, there's no doubt in my mind that was everything I had.
Yeah, that's a good reminder regarding that semifinal too, because I think, yeah, that was a little bit